Good morning, Paint Right here, and welcome to my new video. First of all, thank you to those that watched the last one and who commented and who liked it, and there's a few who subscribed as well. All great. This is very much work in progress, and that wasn't really my very first go at it. At the end of that first video, I did say that I was going to take you down to the river and show you. I mean, I use a lot of locations to take photographs of birds, but because I live right next to a river, I thought I would take you to go and see one of the spots that I use, and that's where I am right now. I'm just going to stop this video and I'll flip the camera around, and then I will really talk you through what I'm looking at. So here's the river from where I'm sitting, and that culvert is over on the right hand side there. There's it's a very old thing. It's kind of fallen to pieces a little bit, but the dippers are nesting in the roof of that culvert. Now I don't actually go in there, I think you'd be a bit too close to their nest if you went in there, and it would freak them out, them flying in and out of there and seeing me standing there. So I don't go in there, but this is a good place to stop and sit, because these rocks here in the middle of the river's quite low at the moment, and there's more rocks sticking out of it than usual, but dippers love standing on a rock, doing a bit of stretching and preening, or just looking up and down, deciding which way to go. So this is a good place to sit. It's kind of like a city centre intersection, you know, or junction. There's a lot of traffic here. You get the dippers in and out. I've just seen a mallard kind of swim out of that culvert and fly off upstream. You get the odd kingfisher landing on this perch here, actually. I'm probably a little bit close for that to happen, but if I'm sat a bit further down there, I have got lucky before and had a kingfisher land on that perch. So, and the usual kind of bird traffic that you would expect on a river like this, you know, the odd duck, the odd goose, black-headed gulls flying up and down, and the occasional, in fact there's a dipper just landed down on that rock there. I'll try and get him into the, oh no, he's just flown to the side. Or she, of course. Female and male dippers are like, oh, there she is, just flying into the nest. I can't hear the chicks calling when they go in there at the moment. Flying back out again, there she. So I suspect there is chicks in there, but that they're very small and not yet old enough to scream their heads off, because pretty soon, here she comes again. Oh no, she's flown into the middle of the river. Pretty soon, whenever one of the parent birds enters that little tunnel, you'll hear all of the chicks calling away. You can't hear that at the moment, so as I say, I suspect they're just a little bit too small. I could be wrong, I'm not an expert on birds, I just sit and watch them really. But anyway, I'm going to turn this off now because I want to see if I can get some photos. There is a worrying amount of foam in the river, and that can be a sign of a pollution incident further upstream. Can be natural as well. I hope it's the latter, obviously. This little dipper now is, she's down there on the right hand side, doing a bit of fishing at the moment. They're amazing little birds. They just literally jump into the water and hold on to those rocks down the bottom and pull stuff out, little fish, insect larvae, stuff like that. That's why the pollution thing is quite worrying, because obviously pollution kills all of the stuff in the river. They find no food, and that obviously is very bad news. So anyway, I'm going to turn this video off now and try and get some photographs, and then I'm going to take you to one of the spots that I use in the woods, show you around there, have a little bit more of a chat about stuff, and hopefully take some videos there. Oh, here she comes back to the nest. Whoosh, and then she goes. Right, I'm going to see you later, and wish me luck with the photos. Bye bye for now. So the weather's got a bit better. The clouds seem to have starting to go now. I've put the extender onto my lens here because I've got quite good light, so I've put the extender on to my lens, so this is effectively now a 420mm lens. I only do that really when I've got kind of reliable, good light. If the light starts to fade a bit, I'll take the extender off, because like I said in my first video, for me, that I want as much light as I can get. So this is an f4 lens, but with this extender on, it's now an f5.6 lens at best. So I've lost a good deal of the light. But as I say, because the weather's improved and the clouds are starting to go, he says, just as the sun goes in, but it is improving. So it's a bit of a gamble, but I've put the extender on and gets me a little bit closer to the birds on those rocks if they do appear. I did just have what I think was a chip-chap above me in that tree. I got a photo. I will post it along with the video. I don't think it's a brilliant photo because I only got really one very quick chance, but it was a chip-chap, I think, and it was a long-tailed tit-around as well. So since I've been out, I've only been out about half an hour. I'm just watching down there because the dipper is just kind of sitting on a rock down the river, I think deciding whether to fly this way or not. So I'd best just get ready for that while I talk to you guys. Since I've been out, and I've only been out about an hour, I've started by seeing a grey whitetail straight away, then a pair of Canada geese I've seen the mallard over here. She comes, just coming into the nest. She's flown straight in. Sometimes she'll stop on one of these rocks that are about kind of 10 yards away from me. Well, no, not that, probably 6-7 yards, which is kind of why I was at here, really. She doesn't always land on one of the rocks, but sometimes she does, either on the way in or on the way out. There is a pair of them. You can't tell male and female dips apart, unless it's through kind of behaviour. But yes, it's a nice place to sit, and I've done quite well in terms of seeing birds. We'll just have to see how well I get on in terms of actually getting photographs of them, which is always the much more difficult thing. So just to repeat then, I've now put the extender on. It's now a 420mm lens. I've got it set on the maximum aperture, which is now f5.6. I've got a shutter speed dialed in here of 800th of a second, which is fast enough to freeze any kind of motion of these birds. You'd need a faster shutter speed if you wanted to catch them totally frozen in flight, kind of, you know. You'd need a lot more shutter speed to do that. But for photographing birds sitting on rocks, 1/800th of a second is fine all day long. You could go a bit slower than that and still do quite well. That's my setup at the moment. I'm going to switch the video off and do a little bit more photography, and then I'm going to take us off into the woods, and we'll meet up there and have another shot. See you in a bit. Bye bye. Hi, welcome back. As promised, it's a little bit later in the day. We're after lunchtime now. I think it's about 1 p.m. and we're in the woods. I'm going to take you for a little walk to a particular location that I've got in mind. But on the way there are a couple of things to see, so we'll be stopping and having a look at those. In the meantime, I'm going to turn this off, turn the camera around so that we can see where I'm going, and I'll meet you in a little bit. You can see this path is very close to where I live. I actually live in the building that you can see through the trees there, which was an old Victorian textiles mill. I think it closed in the 1970s. It was turned into apartments in 1986. I moved in about 7 years ago. So this is a very close path to my house, literally a minute, not even that. I've got the river to the right. We're about, I don't know, maybe a 5-minute walk upstream from where we were before, looking at the dippers. There is a lot of foam in the river. So I'm walking on this path a lot, and I mean by a lot, not quite every day, but most days I come along here, even if it's just a lunchtime walk. I work from home, but sometimes I come along here at lunchtime, and I'm going to take us to the first little spot, which is quite nice. I use this spot a lot. You can see there's a rock here. Don't know where it came from, how it ended up here. There's usually a log on here, but it's fallen off, so I'm going to put that back, and I'll explain why I'm going to do that. The birds around here are used to me feeding them. In fact, there's a grey tit already arrived because I have. He's like, oh, hello, Bill, is there food? Well, there is. I'm going to just put a handful of food down there. Right, so we've got a log we've got some food. Why have I put the log there? Well, I take my photos here from the base of this little tree here. So when I'm crouched down, you can see there's a robin just appeared there. Let me just zoom in a little bit. You can see the birds have already started to appear here. 2 robins there on the branch, great on the end. These birds know me. I mean, you know, I'm here a lot. I feed them in the same place. And if they're hungry, they arrive, and here they are. And several already here. And because I've got that log on there, if I take a photograph of them, I don't get the pile of bird seed at their feet, which, you know, it doesn't make for a natural shot when you've got a pile of bird seed sitting in front of the birds. So it keeps the birds above that, and you get some nice photos. There's actually a lot of birds around here, so while the sun is out, I'm going to turn this camera off and take some photos, and then meet you a little bit further down the path. Okay, I think I got some nice photos there. I will put the best of these photos at the end of the video, and the same for the ones I took earlier on of the dippers. Quite a lot of bird activity around. There was 4 robins there all at once at one point, which is obviously gets a bit abrasive. Robins, they can be quite feisty. Anyway, this is the first location, very close to where I live. I just call it the Rock because, well, it's a big rock. So, off we go to the next one, and that's about a minute away, and I'll see you when we get there. Okay, so here we are, and this is what I wanted to show you. I've been using this fallen tree as a kind of a prop for a lot of my photos lately. If you want to see my photos, by the way, aintright_BL9 on Twitter. I'll put it on there in the video somewhere. It's a nice thing. It's, you know, it's a bit of fallen wood. It's very sculptural. It's got some nice colours and textures in there. It gets the light most of the day. One of the best things about it is that it's not really close to anything else. So if you've got a bird that lands on the top of that, or, you know, there's nothing much in the background. So if you've got a decent amount of separation, you see these birds landing already there. They know what's coming. Hello. Do you want some food? I haven't quite put it out yet. Do you want to give me a minute? I'm just doing some video. Say hello. Okay, all right. I'm going to put some food out there since the clients have already turned up. It's got a nice little spot there where you can just put a bit of food. Now if I just step back a bit, that robin and his mates should come back, and I can carry on with what I was talking about. So yeah, the good thing about this is it's kind of on its own. There's nothing very close to it. So if you get a bird landing there and you take its photo, you've not got to worry about having a very cluttered background. You're going to have one of those nice blurry backgrounds. Here's that robin back again. There he is, straight there, blue tit sitting on the top. As you can tell, you know, these birds are used to me feeding them, and they're used to these locations. It doesn't take them long to appear. In fact, they're often here before I get here, and they often sit in the trees tweeting away at me while I get the stuff out of my bag or my pocket or whatever. I actually usually take my photos just from this end of the tree, just on that little downslope there. Being on that little downslope means I can quite easily be at eye level with these birds without having to bend down. And it also puts me far enough away at the end of the log there that if something bigger does turn up on here, like if Betty the blackbird shows up or something like that, I'll be able to get her in the frame as well from down there. So I am going to settle myself down there and see what photos I can take, and I will see you later. So yeah, I think I'm going to call it a day for today as far as this video is concerned anyway. We've had a look at the river, and my favourite spot that is, down the river a bit earlier on where those dippers were, and the other birds that you see around there as well. We've had a look at that fallen tree just a few minutes ago, one of my very favourite spots at the moment. I will eventually get bored with it and move on and find another one. Similarly, I'll get bored with this little spot and move away and find another one. in the summer you can see all these plants you know, growing around on the ground here. This is mostly Himalayan balsam, so in a month or two's time, really that Himalayan balsam is about, you know, as tall as I am. So, and when all of the leaves in all of these trees come out as well, you lose a lot of the light, and this becomes actually quite a shaded spot and not as good for photography. So I tend, in the summer, once the leaves all come out, I tend to spend my time on the edges of the woods or by the river or out on some of the open spaces that there are around here. So yeah, that's a couple of the places where I take my photographs and a bit of babbling on in the background. Hopefully you've seen some things that you like. If you did like this video, please let me know. Remember to comment and subscribe if you want to, of course. All are welcome. And yeah, I will catch you all next time. And if you want to carry on through the video to look at the photos at the end, I will make sure as many of them, as many of the good ones anyway, that I've taken today or stuck on the end of the video there for you to look at. And if you have any questions for me, ask them in the comments. If there's anything you'd like to know, any ideas for videos you'd like to see, just go ahead and suggest them. You know, I'm doing this because I want to help people maybe take up photography if they haven't already, or get better at photography if they're already doing it. You know, you're all a part of that. So I'm happy to respond to comments and questions. Right, that's it. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will catch you next time. Goodbye.